Hi class, next up I'm going under Sonia B. So Sonia is a 40-year-old Asian American divorced for 6 months woman living with her 7-year-old son, 4-year-old daughter. She presents in a neat and professional way, maintains a successful career in mid-level management. Sonia has worked for the same company for over 10 years, but finds herself worrying about losing her job and being unable to provide for her children. So now, is that worry based on reality? As of right now, it sounds like it probably is not. She has a very high standards for herself, is often self-critical if she doesn't meet her own expectations. Currently, she's struggling with feelings of worthlessness and shame due to her perceived inability to perform as well as she has in the past at both work and at home. Now, she's an Asian American female. What do we know culturally as far as the influences of this? So this is a case in which we really need to take culture into consideration. Being an Asian American female who's going through a divorce with 2 kids, she's going to get a lot of backlash because that is not going to be seen as okay within her family system, within her culture. Asian American women are supposed to be married when they have kids, and they're supposed to continue to be married and continue to be within that family system. So for her to be divorced and to have 2 children to raise on her own, she's going to hear a lot of negative things about that, and she's internalized those negative things, right? So she sees herself as not as capable, even though to us she sounds like she's a very, very capable woman who can definitely provide for these 2 kids. For the past several weeks, she's felt very fatigued, found it hard to concentrate at work or to involve herself in her children's activities. Her doctor recommends her being assessed for thyroid conditions. So our first step is to rule out the medical. So first step is for her to get tested for thyroids. That's always a good thing to kind of rule out. Her coworkers have noticed that she's irritable and withdrawn, which is unlike her usual friendly and easygoing personality. So she's definitely a lot more stressed, both at home and at work. She denies thoughts of suicide. However, she's finding herself increasingly dissatisfied with life. She admits to frequent thoughts of wishing she were dead, but worries about how her death would affect her children. So she's got some passive suicidal thought. So an active suicidal thought is, I want to kill myself tonight, and here's how I'm going to do it. A passive suicidal thought is, life would be easier if I would not be here. Or maybe I drive a little bit too fast, and if another car were to hit me, it would be okay if I would die. So that's a passive suicidal thought. You are still wishing yourself dead. You just don't want to do it yourself, but you'd be okay with anyone else doing it and or it being accidental. You just don't want it to be on purpose by yourself. So most likely, with all these different symptoms, she's really got a lot of different things that have come at her and a lot of different changes. I would go with the lower level diagnosis of adjustment disorder with mixed depression and anxiety. That could elevate to major depressive disorder or to generalized anxiety disorder. But right now, she's just gone through so many different changes. She still currently has all these different stressors. Financially, she's had to reposition herself. Just childcare-wise, she's fully responsible now for these 2 kids. It's a whole different ballgame. So from my stance, I always go with the lower level one first, which is the adjustment disorder. Now I bump it up depending on what signs and symptoms she has, and really doing a good clinical interview and really questioning her, really looking precisely at what's causing these different signs and symptoms is going to be where kind of the meat and potatoes is at. Ruling out the thyroid condition first is essential.